Good evening or good morning from wherever you're joining from around the world. Hi, it's Krishan, your girl from Black Global, and it's a vision board party. So I am so happy you're here. I am hoping that there isn't a crazy time delay because just before I went live, I was doing some stuff because I was trying to plan and share some intentional things with you. And my camera started wonking out a little bit. So if you don't mind helping me out and drop some comments and let me know that you can see me and hear me and things aren't looking funky crazy, I would be very happy about that. Thank you. Hey, Karen, how are you? How are you? I hope you had a great holiday. And I do have to reach out to you about the book club. So, Karen is one of our passport members. So, shameless plug. So, some of you, a lot of you, right, probably already know I've been talking about it for months, even though some folks think this is new information. And I get it, new people come into the group. But I've been talking about it since probably late August, early September, that our Facebook group was going to be no more. As well, I announced the actual date a few weeks ago, but that it was coming to a close this year because we were moving to our own platform. And I talked a little bit about the reason why, which I actually dropped that in the season 3 finale of the Black Global podcast. So I can go into a little bit more here. But the reason for it is, y'all know I got issues with Meta. Meta isn't always better. And I, as a content creator and as a digital marketer by profession, have had a love-hate relationship with Facebook. And I've talked about it. Actually, I've been on a few interviews about that just professionally. And so it was time to say goodbye to the platform. So I am excited because there are, wonderful members that were like early adopters, like Karen, that came, to the party, riding with me. And, I had to sunset the group, which is happening today, um, and usher in a new energy, some things that I've been wanting to do, but it's harder to do on a platform like Facebook. It's harder to do when you have a group as large as it is, and then people aren't always people, right? There's some bots and all this other stuff. So, it's safer where our new home is. I have a lot of things planned. Y'all already know. So it's going to be, continued inspiration and information. And you'll see that in our platforms like the Black Global podcast, which isn't going away, our website, and our Instagram, but it's also owned by the Metas, so that may or may not be around much longer. And then YouTube. YouTube is a good home for us, right? So I will continue to go live. I will continue to post videos. One of my most popular videos is on scouting, what to do on your scouting trip. And I feel like I need to update it, given for some of you that have listened to the podcast. And my journey on my first scouting trip in October to Costa Rica um, did not go as I had hoped it would for a variety of reasons. And I may talk about it. I mean, look, we're communing together. That was the whole point of us having this night, right? I was like, I don't want to close the group. And, I talked about it in season 3 finale that past couple weeks I've been having some personal setbacks, as some of you know, and have shared and shared your condolences. I appreciate them. But I wasn't in the right space. And so finally I got to a point where I was able to record the final episode, albeit a day before it aired, but I did. And I was in a better space last week. And I was like, you know what? I can't just close the door on my people in the group and not go out with the bang, because that's just not how I roll. So your girl's been going on some walks. The weather's been cooperating, burning some candles. I am here. I am here. So I am excited for us to have this vision board party. So I hope, before we get into it, I wanted to like prime you all about it. But I hope you got, your magazines, your glue sticks, your scissors, right? So I'm doing my little like Elmer's and the good scissors. These are crafting scissors, um, and magazines. And this was actually when Blacks Global was in the New York Times. Yay! In September. And, bringing in the good energy. Y'all see behind me, she goes places. And our original t shirt, we have merch in the beginning of the group. You probably can see it. Blacks it, hashtag Blacks it us. So I figured, tonight's the night. We're going to set our intention right. We're going to say goodbye to the group on Facebook. Hello to our group on Passport and what it will be. And then also say goodbye to 2021. We know, or at least we thought, that 2020 was a bit of a hot mess. 2021, due to Obi-Wan Kenobi, is faring not to be what we had hoped in that respect. So, let's give some new energy to what we want to manifest for 2022. So, I want to get in these comments. I want to acknowledge everybody that's here. I want to say, hey, 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 y'all, hey, y'all, hey. So yeah, so I saw Karen and yes. So Meredith, you said there's a little delay. All right. If you guys let me know if the delay gets bad, I will go off and come back on. It might have been, I don't know, because I don't have anything else running. But if it really, really seems like it's terrible, I will close out. Let me just make sure there's nothing else that's running in the background that's slowing my computer up. Ain't that always the case when you want to go live and then technology won't let you be great? Let's see. I want to get back into the comments. Cutie Pie. Hey. All right. You can hear me? Okay. That's good. Awesome. All right. All right. Says that's all good. So Cutie Pie says, let's see. Let me see if that's going to come up. I'm putting a scouting trip video together to add my 2 cents. Yes, please. I want to see it. I can't wait. Yes, you're doing a scouting trip to Lisbon. Oh my gosh, I almost bought my ticket for April the other day. I'm holding off a little bit from booking it. I think it's going to be like another week or two before I decide. I actually have a couple things planned for folks that are interested in Portugal. If you've gone on the website recently, you probably have seen or listened to my interview with Char Winter, that I have the planning guide on how to get your D7 visa. That's on the Blacks at Global website on the resources tab. Hey, Comfort's in the house. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for all the informative travel content. I tried. Your girl Stacey. And in case y'all missed it, the other day, Blacks at Global was included in an article on travel podcasts to listen to 22 in Travel Noir. I am so happy because that was in my heart. I was like, look, Blacks at Global's been in Huffington Post, New York Times, been on TV, PBS this summer, BuzzFeed, Vogue Magazine. I'm sure I'm leaving out, let's see, Miami Times, Houston Chronicle. And I was like, I need Travel Noir and Essence. And who slipped in there at the last minute? Travel Noir. So I am very humbled by that. So I was excited. So, hey, how are you? Have y'all listened to the episode that I had with Miss Brown Bell Abroad in Australia? So I know it's early for you, right? If I'm right with the time, and it's summertime. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I have to reach out to you because I have a couple things I want to ask. um, so Meredith had a question about the scouting videos. You can find all of our videos, our public videos that are on our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell because in addition to the videos that I've been putting up there, I've also been putting our back catalog of the podcast. So right now, I think I'm up to almost the season 2 finale. So I'm making those into videos and putting them on YouTube because I know a lot of you, maybe listening or watching things on YouTube. And so this way you don't have to switch platforms. I don't think it counts towards my podcast downloads, but who really cares? It's really about providing the content that you need to keep you inspired and motivated on your journey. So, thank you, Comfort, for the congratulations. Thank you. It's been a busy and crazy, crazy, crazy year. So in a good way, with all of the things that have happened with Blacks Global, I have been deeply moved, especially the comments today about closing the group and understanding. And I'll get back to Passport for a second. It's a paid platform. It's a subscription. So you join 1 month, you don't want to join another month. Your needs change, you're traveling, you want to pop in, you want to pop out. That's what, it's there for. Would I like you to stay the whole time? Of course. But I also wanted to make sure that there was some flexibility there. So that is why it is the model that it is, and that it's not like pay one price and then, it's like, no, it's a subscription. You may want to be there today, you may not want to be there tomorrow. It's all good. So, let's see. Yay. And Karen says she loves it. And this was like, oh my gosh. Well, I'll be posting some things in Passport tomorrow, so I'll learn that. More on that then. So tonight, without further ado, is our vision board party. So I wanted to set the stage and the tone for the party. And let me know again if the lag is acting weird, because then I can go off and then come back on. But hopefully it won't be the case. But I wanted to set the tone and the stage for like the party and the energy that you bring to a vision board. So I'll tell you a little bit about my journey and how I came to understand the power of vision boards. Some of you may have created them in the past and then not. I definitely have. I haven't done it every year, but on the years that I do and that I follow the way that I learned about how to manifest in the vision board, that's when the energy that I poured into my vision board actually manifests. So, the first time I was invited to a vision board party. I think I went to 2 back to back, and it was 2015. And in 2015, well, 2014, 2015. So 2013, I had gotten an award, 40 and 40, that whole thing. That was really fabulous. And then like a couple weeks later, I lost my job and I didn't have a job for like over 2 years. And you guys know I am a mom, I have 2 children, and it was tough, right? Like no money, right? And so after a year, you're like, okay. After a year and a half, you're like, okay. When it gets to like 2, you're like, okay. You're scrapping lint out of your pockets. And I was invited to a vision board party, and it was around this time of the year, and it was like what do you have to lose? It was a gathering with myself, Kimberly Sumter, who is actually one of my podcast coach. She's also a member of the group. Listen to her podcast, Sisters Connect podcast. And so a bunch of us had gotten together, in New Jersey. And we sat down and we had set our intentions and, had the poster board and the glue sticks and all of that stuff. And I really was able to pour out what was in my heart. And I think what created the lag that you're seeing is I was trying to pull up that photo. There's actually a photo of Kim doing her board because her birthday was yesterday and it keeps coming up in my feed every year. But there was also a picture of me doing my board, and I wanted to share that. And I was trying to pull it up before we went live because that's when I had my epiphany. But in any event, that didn't happen. So anyway, when I did that, that's when the magic really happened. Um, and so I went to another vision board party a couple weeks afterwards, and that was with Lucinda Cross, who many of you might be familiar with from the Activate movement. And she's been on several shows. She's a motivational speaker. She's a boss extraordinaire. And at that time, she was doing vision board parties. So I went to the vision board party in the city, and gosh, it was like maybe 100 plus women in there. I mean, there were long tables and magazines galore and glue sticks and just, positive energy. And I should have probably picked up the photo of me and Lucinda, doing our boards. And one of the things that she said was so powerful. And I did that board and took it home. I had several boards, actually two. So I did a travel board. And at that point, I had never traveled really outside of the US, with the exception of Canada and a cruise, but I don't really count that. I don't like cruises. But anyway, so that was the board that I had put on things like New Zealand, which was on my heart since I was a little girl, and I hadn't even talked about that with anyone for decades. I had things about, if I were to work again, what environment would I want to be in? Not just can I get a job? What do I want to do in that role? How do I want to be seen in that role? How do I want to carry myself? How do I want people to interact with me? I was very specific. And then what Lucinda said that was really powerful was make sure you keep your boards where you can see them. And so I took those boards and I put them across from my bed, the wall across my bed. Uh, and so whenever I had two, so whenever I went to bed, when I got up before I went to bed every night, first thing I saw when I woke up, my boards. Last thing I saw before I went to sleep, my boards. And that was the year that everything started to shift in a different direction. So, as you all know, I made my overseas trip to New Zealand, but that came as a result of me at the time getting what I thought was going to be my dream job. But it was, I mean, in a lot of ways, it was. It changed the trajectory of my life, my career, in many different ways. For some of you know, I think I talked about it in the last episode. So I was making a pivot from politics and all of that into digital marketing, and subsequently was the what was my title? Digital lead for the Advil brand, among other brands. And so it was an awesome role. Did it for many years, but going from, like I said, lint in my pocket to things changing, not in an instant, but, like I said, it was 2+ years of not having a job. But I did that board. And then within that year, everything manifested, including my travels abroad, which I had never done, especially as a solo person. And then making the decision to leave my kids and travel to the other side of the world because your girl goes big. I didn't just say, oh, I'm going to go to Canada or Mexico. No shade to either of those countries, but I went all the way, right? So Savvy Soldier, because I want to make sure this is interactive. This is where my creative vision board is located back in the US. Oh my gosh, that is so cool. So that's where the power of vision boards and so comes together. And so I wanted to say all that to like set the tone and set the intention for tonight. Hopefully, again, my screen and everything will cooperate because I do want to read something I was actually trying to pull up. I'm going to minimize my screen and apologies if it goes dark, but it shouldn't. I'm going to try and pull up what I was actually looking at before we went live because I wanted to read something to you. Let's see if things don't get wonky. Let's see. The internet's gonna be good to you, girl, or the internet's gonna be like, nah, B, not tonight. Let's see. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna read it. I was going to try and screen share, but since the thing is wonky, and I trust that you guys can still see me and hear me. So this is my, let's see, I think it'll be more powerful if I share it. Let's see, can I share it? Let's see, let me try and do a screen share. Share screen. Let's see. I want to share. Ooh, it's gonna look weird if I do it that way. Let's try this. Let me know if y'all can see that and it doesn't look like crazy. All right, so I'm gonna read it. So this is a post from January 2017 when I took my trip to New Zealand. So day 13 of my adventures in New Zealand finds me in reflection as I enjoy my last day in New Zealand, or my last New Zealand sunrise this year. This has been an amazing holiday and worth the long flights to get here. The desire to come to New Zealand was a closely guarded dream I've had since I was a little girl growing up in the Bronx. It was also a dream I had all but abandoned. Fortunately, as I did my travel vision board 2 years ago, God saw fit to put that desire back in my heart. And one day, standing on a beach in New Jersey this past July, I decided to make it a reality. And in true Krishan fashion, did so on my own. I'm grateful to the people of New Zealand for showing such great generosity to me these past few weeks. I'm also humbled by the hospitality of my amazing Airbnb hosts. Each of them contributed to this epic vacation, and I'll cherish the memories and counsel. And then there's a bunch of shout outs that I'm not going to read right now because it will get me super emotional. But all that is to say is I wanted to share that with you for a way of you to like get into the frame of mind to realize that this is a very, very, very powerful way, so that you can clear your energy, cast your vision, set your intention, set your goals. So, like I had talked about, I had a travel vision board. I had one about how I wanted to be in terms of a career. So, for you, you can decide if you want to create your space and put everything on one board. I mean, this is your vision, right? This isn't mine. I'm just giving you tools and examples of what has worked for me, but definitely want to make this interactive and collaborative. So if there are things that you've done that have worked for you in the past, if you've done vision boards, or if it's your first time, like this is what it's all about. You have the power to manifest and change things. And I know for some it may sound woo-woo, but that shows you that a board that was done in 2015 and then 2017 came to fruition and now leapfrog into 2021. And I just talked about all the other things that have come from just from creating Black Sit Global in this past year and a half, right? That's what the power is when you pour in different energy and you set the intention. Doesn't mean that things won't be challenging. It doesn't mean that hard decisions won't have to be made or difficulties overcome, but you stay true to the vision, right? That's what it's all about. So I hope that inspired you. So with that, let's get to boarding. So I have my poster board here. Okay, I have my poster board here. And I also have a vision board that I did last year, but I will tell you, and this is probably why a few things happened the way they did for me this year. So actually, I'll show you this. And because I also believe in borrowing. So if there are things that are on a board from a previous year that either I want to carry into another year, I will pluck those things off, etc. But this was my board from last year. It's a little beaten up. And I'll go into the reason why in a minute. So you can probably see there are things about relationships, there are things about perspective, feeling good, finances, um, daring to be great and live your best life. There was some travel, go for the bold, etc. So I enjoyed that board, but the difference in that board and what was behind it, I think I didn't put that board up because, like I said, it looks a little mangled because it actually sat on the floor of my bedroom pretty much the whole year until I just drug that out today. And so now I'm able to compare and contrast when I've practiced things and I've done the boards and I've stuck them, as I mentioned, on the walls where I can see it. A great other tip is to screenshot your board and put it on your phone, because we all know we look at our phone 1,000,001 times a day, or even your screen on your laptop or computer. You want to keep it a core reference because there are going to be, like I said, those days that are going to be like, oh my gosh, is this going to happen? Or those days that are really, really great and you're like, ooh, I'm in the flow. This is working for me, right? That is why you need to keep it in the front. So I hope you have your magazines. I'm going to do a board. We'll do a board together. Savvy Soldier said, great tip. You're welcome. You're welcome. And I'm so glad you guys are all here. This is fun. And I know, like I said, for time zones, it doesn't always match up. So for anyone who didn't catch it, you'll catch it in the replay. For people that are in the Blacks of Global Facebook group, the group is going to be archived, not deleted. I wouldn't dare do that to you all. So it'll stay archived. So if you're a member of Blacks of Global Facebook group, and as long as you don't like delete yourself from the group, you'll always have access to the archived content to look up if you wanted to search an article or anything like that, or a post that you want to remember seeing, yada yada. So that is there for you. And then for the members that are moving over to Passport, my VA has been working tirelessly to start to port over a lot of those articles and categorize them so that everything is searchable, easy to find. You can just follow, if you're interested in a certain country, you can just follow that country. And so anytime I post about that, you'll get your notification rather than inundated with a bunch of things. So I got this poster board from Staples yesterday. And I actually like it because it is very reminiscent of the first board I did versus this bigger one. Because the space in my room is actually quite small. I go live in my daughter's bedroom. She's probably watching too. Hi. But I like this because it's lightweight and it's easier to stick on a wall. You don't have to worry about it falling down. So it's a good size board you can get from Staples or wherever. I have my magazines. So I like to just look for different words or phrases that kind of resonate. As I mentioned, you can have a board that's just very specific. For me, what I'd like to do tonight is do one centered around wellness. um, especially as I had shared in the past couple sessions, is, I changed a lot this year. I lost 15 pounds. Shout out to the coaches, Coach T and Coach G, the G's. So they joined us for a live on before their trip to Costa Rica, their wellness retreat. And I had Tamika on the podcast, and Tamika became my fitness coach. And thankfully, had me all trim and slim, and I still have me all trim and slim. But in addition, I was actually also doing stretching. I was going to Stretch Lab and getting my weekly stretches. And then, when we got into Q4, a lot of things happened. I had my trip to Costa Rica, the trip that mm, was a lot of challenges. And then as soon as I got back, literally, um, and like I said, it was very traumatic. 4 hours to get through immigration. That is what I will remember most about Costa Rica. Anyway, literally, when I got back from that trip, I put my bags down, washed my clothes, packed again, and then grabbed the dog and drove 1,100 miles to Florida because my mom had knee replacement surgery. So I was actually there for several weeks helping her. And when I did my live with Libria Jones, that was actually from Florida. So, it was nice weather, but, also emotionally draining and taxing. Um, you know, you your relationship changes with your parent as they age. Let's say that. And then having to, drive 1,100 miles back. Shout out to my puppy. That girl's not even a year and a half yet. She rode good. Um, and then, and right before actually I came back was when I found out my sister-in-law had passed away. So it was just a lot of stuff going on. Um, and so I got out of sync with a lot of my wellness practice. And so that is why I wanted to kind of focus more on that. Because even when I got back from that trip, then I had to go on college tours with my daughter, and we're going to different states. And so I now, like I said, past couple weeks have been getting back into sync. The weather's been cooperating. I don't go out in the cold. So did a walk today, walked the other day, got a massage for the first time in 2.5 years. And so I'm recommitting, even though like it was only a couple months that I was like off kilter. I'm recommitting to that. And that's the big focus. Because at least for me, and I firmly believe that, and for those of you who've been journeying with Black Cycle Wolf from the beginning, you guys know I put a lot of wellness content in there, interviews with people. We talk about the pathway to wellness. I talked about that in the episode with Christine Job, who's the host of Flourish in the Foreign, and other guests. I've had the G's on to do wellness talks. We have Pernell Bobby. But when you pay attention to your health, that's your greatest wealth. And so that is why I want to do that board. So Kristen says, silly question, is a collage less effective? I'm not too fond of white space. Actually, that is a great question. So I'm more old school in my like vision board where I'm like, getting magazines. I know like I'm using the camera here, so I know you can't see what's in my lap, but I have like the magazines and everything like that. Some people like to go into like Canva or other boards and they make electronic boards, or they do, like to your point, like a collage where they don't do with the white space or the color poster board. They like to like put images on top of images. Like I said, it's your board, it's your vision. There's no right or wrong. So whatever you think is more powerful. If you don't like the white space, I think that's a great, and you don't feel like you'll get distracted when you see it, then I would say yes. I like to have some level of white space, and I'll go into that a little bit. Is I know this one is doing the rounds, and I love it. It's yesterday's price, ain't today's price, right? It's like the person you are today when you do your vision board is not going to be that same person a year from now, not even 6 months from now, right? So, not saying that your vision will change, but your vision in a lot of ways will expand. And so, you may need to layer on some things, you may need to adjust some things. And so, I like to have white space because, at least for me, it allows me room to grow, and allows space for that. But like I said, there's no right or wrong. It's whatever works for you. Just like when I tried not having it on the wall, it didn't have the same power as when I had it front and center. But that's what works for me. Yes, there's vision boards on Pinterest. Yes, yes, definitely. For those of you who are on Pinterest, I'm on Pinterest, but I think when I say I'm on Pinterest, I have like a Pinterest ID. Let me qualify that. My daughter's on Pinterest more than I am. I do appreciate Pinterest, but um, I just, you know, if you see me, you probably see I have like a couple boards. Um, oh, okay. So Savvy Soldier, I'm going to put this up here. Uses the white space to add handwritten notes as my vision becomes clearer. Wow, I love that. That's powerful. I love that. And that's the other thing. The power of ooh, I feel like there's something on my lip. The power of your handwritten notes and things like that. In the interview that I did this season with Esther, who's in Bali, she talked about morning pages. And so I'll preview this for those of you who are joining Black Sit Global Passport. I'm planning a session so that we can do some morning pages. So we'll start to have some more intentional practices about our moves, our respective moves abroad. So I'm going to, if you're watching, Esther, I'm going to talk to you like in today or tomorrow because it's morning in Bali. But yeah, so that is really powerful. And she talks about it in her episode a little bit about what morning pages is. But for those of you who are interested in that practice, I suggest you listen to that episode. So I start, and apologies because I'm going to be looking up and down because I don't want to be doing this all night long, is looking for just things that jump out, and it doesn't have to be really, wild. And then I'm a big fan of like tearing things out and look, ain't God good? What's this one say? Vision. Hey girl, hey. So sometimes you'll decide like your best way of doing it, looking and flipping through a magazine, seeing if something jumps out at you, tearing it out, and then putting it on a paper. Sometimes, like I said, there's no right or wrong. And it's not even just words. Sometimes it's images. Like I said, when I went to New Zealand, I happened to be looking at a magazine and it had New Zealand, and I was like, oh, wow. And then I think I had something else on there. It might have even been a picture of Greece. And for those of you or who are fans of that cover photo for Black Sit Global podcast, that is me in Greece, and I did a photo shoot. So I just look for words like treat yourself. So for this year, and I'll talk a little bit about what I'm planning, what I'm planning on doing. So this is my wellness board. So for this year, I've been setting my intention of how I'm going to lean into my wellness. And one of the things that I realized is that I love walking. I love walking, love moving my body. But like I said, when it's cold, your girl ain't doing it. When it's cold, I tend to, pile on weight with comfort food. This year, your girl's been holding steady. However, mood wise, like I said, I've had to kind of pay more attention to things. And so for 2022, I'm committing to monthly massages, and which is something I've never done. Like I said, my last massage was 2 years ago, and 2.5 years ago. And even before that, every time I would get a massage, maybe every year to 2 years, the practitioners would say, "You're tight, you really should be coming for regular massages." In my head, I just said, this is a money play. But now, fast forward all these years, I realize that me paying attention and treating myself in that way um, is a good thing, right? So everything starts with from within. And so that is the thing that I really want to commit to. So I went for a massage last week, and before I left, I scheduled another one. So just flipping through the book, um, looking for, oh, cool. Yes, yes, definitely. Definitely. Let me know how you are doing with morning pages. Because I've been hearing about it, and I know that Esther talked about it in her episode. And yeah, it's really, really good. Um, and then what else? Oh, also, like I said, I want to have this interactive. So if there's any questions y'all have for me, oh, I missed one. Sorry. Savvy Soldier had asked about what platform is Passport on. Great question. So Black Global Passport sits on Mighty Networks. So if you're a member, you all know and are familiar with it. A lot of the features are similar to Facebook, so it's not too much, at least in my mind, of a leap. So you'll have a feed. You can have a personalized news feed. You'll have the ability to check different, follow different topics. We've had our book club, and so in that, you have your own environment to house specific content. Um, and in the members can actually see, like, if you have your setting on that, not just, but you can like see if there's a member that's close by you or in a country that you're interested in. So that's really helpful. And then we've had like not weekly, bi-weekly accountability calls when we were focused on the Get Good with Money book. And that was just really a powerful, powerful, powerful session. So we were able to like see each other. And that's been one thing that I've been wanting to do with the community is like, okay, y'all see me, but I see me every day too. But to be able to see the members face to face and have, intimate conversations is really important because, we all have our day-to-day lives. We're all, walking our own walk and our own journeys. But it's just nice to come together in fellowship and see someone else or help someone who's either struggling or champion someone who's done something really remarkable. So that's what I really want to do and get to. Um, and so that is why we are on Mighty Networks. And so I don't have to worry about an algorithm. When I'm sharing or anyone sharing actually a post, you can notify the community so that they can get notifications. So a lot of times, like I would post in the Facebook group about different things and people like, oh, I didn't see Black Global group was closing. I've been posting about it since September. But the algorithm doesn't always cooperate. And so that was another rub, as well as, just the whole Facebook being Facebook and squelching the content. So now I don't have them problems. And like I said, I'm very grateful to our early birds that are on Passport that came like in the beginning when everything was, I get to the house and it has no furniture in it. That's how it was. it was like the house with no furniture, but they have contributed in such great ways, in such meaningful ways. Um, and so I am very grateful. And I know they've been waiting for this day too. Um, so thanks to y'all for rolling with me. Um, so now is like you get a couple of words that kind of stick out, and then you just start cutting. That's my technique. That is just what I do. Sometimes I get fun with it, especially. So we were going about Kristen's question about the collage. One way is like you can get fun with it and make either shapes or cut close to the letters. And that adds a little bit of, texture and interest to your board. You can take pictures of, family members or other things. And I just kind of like, I know it's hard for you to see because this is actually in my lap and it's not glued down, but then I just start to kind of take the board and put things in places that kind of feel like it's logical or that's where my energy is directing it. Um, and then I always make sure, at least for me, that I have powerful words that bring energy. So, for example, and I'll look at the board that I have, and I'll be lifting some of that off of there. But, the sky's the limit, born to be bold. So I like to have very action oriented power statements so that when I read it, even if I'm not in the right frame of mind, it kind of commands that I get there, or at least reminds me of what the potential that I have to achieve something. It's just it's something that I like to do. So I like to have like action oriented words. I also like to have in my vision boards things that are kind of like stretch goals, because everything that, like I said, life happens. Everything that you may set the intention for may not come to fruition in the manner that you wanted it to. And so you have to be okay with that. And so that is something that you have to like I said, kind of understand, but keep your head straight on it, because when you lean into it, it's not, like I said, it's not a race. There's no timeline. It's really about the energy you bring to the practice and then staying true to that, at least in my opinion. So, I just looked up Karen. Karen's one of our passport members, and she says it feels more safe, and that's why I like it. Thank you. I try, like I do. I feel that way as well. The reason why I love Passport is, like I said, Facebook and really all these like Facebook is they have a lot of data on you, right? They know what you look at, what you like, what you don't like, how long you stay on the device, if you're on your desktop, if you're on your phone, who your friends are. A lot of you like to put where you went to school, where you work, who you're related to, etc. And then they build data sets on, your likes and interests, your political affiliations, and things like that. A lot of times, like this happened to me the other day, and like I said, I'm a digital marketer, and so when it happened, I knew exactly what it was. So I'll tell you because it's creepy. Is I was having a conversation with, I think I was having a conversation with my son, and I was talking about this this for some of you who have children that are gamers, you are familiar with Roblox. And I had never spoken the word before. Sure enough, a few minutes later, I grabbed my phone because I wanted to check on the group. And guess who gets served a Roblox ad? Me. So I knew that the Facebook was listening. So I went into my phone settings, and sure enough, when I go into the Facebook app, my camera and microphone was, your permission. If you give your phone permission, it listens. So of course I turned it off. Now I could talk about Roblox and a whole bunch of other stuff. And guess what? Krishan gets served no ads. But again, that's why like because like I said, as a marketer, I understand its purpose. As a human being, not so much. And definitely not as a content creator. So what else? What are y'all plans? I know I'm probably asking too many things. You're probably boarding, and then I'm asking you to respond to me. So let me know if that's too much. But so if anybody has any plans, travel or otherwise, for 2022, feel free to share. I talked about going to Lisbon. I want to go. I'm planning on going in April for my scouting trip. I'll talk about it more on the podcast. Obviously, for me in 2022, it's going to be in a few, probably at least a month. I need a little bit more of a break. It's going to be recording season 4 of the podcast. I don't know if some of you noticed, this past season was a little longer, slightly longer, I think by like 2 episodes. And then I had a bonus. I dropped that the other day. Hope you guys listened to that. It was a mashup of different guests that have, really shared some gems around choice, and that we all have the power to choose. And that's really powerful. Sometimes we lose sight of that. And my mom says, you're free to make the choice, but you can't choose the consequence. Everything has, a pro and con to it. And this journey is no different. And I know in some of the conversations on the groups that people have been talking about, did they get a sign that this is the right thing to do or not the right thing to do, or having moments where they second guess or have to change their plans? There's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, this isn't a race. This is only really one part of the journey. When you get to where you feel you're going to go, that's one part of it. Just like this part is part of the journey, right? And everything isn't going to be popcorn and lollipops. There are going to be good days and bad days. You're going to have to deal with different things, cultural nuances, depending on where you're going to, language barriers, bureaucracy, or infrastructure issues or lack thereof. There's a whole lot. And so the only thing that is consistent with being in one country or another is you. And so that is why I like this practice. And that is why I think it's really powerful to spend some time working on yourself, because that is the constant you're going to bring. It's not, your luggage, well, in the physical sense. It's not going to be any trinkets or souvenirs that you've picked up along the way. That's great. But those days when you are, missing home, or, as some members have had, unfortunately, to deal with, family members have passed on, or there have been other memorable moments like weddings or engagements. And because of the pandemic, that they're not able to be there to enjoy it because they have an inability to get either out of the country that they're in or back into the country that is their adopted land. Those are the realities. We talk about some of those in the earlier episodes of the podcast at the height of the pandemic, where people were trying to move abroad or who had encountered difficulties, where they were on a travel visa and then wound up having to do a long stay. Again, these are some of the things that you're not going to see in a pretty Instagram feed. But that, my intention is for us to dig more deeply into these areas in our new community. Cool. So, Karen says, still working on travel, probably be adding more after my cruise next year. Ooh, girl, we going. I want to know. I want to know where you're going, where you're going. Yes, yes. So I will say, and here's another plug. And I think we'll be doing, I think I shared it a few weeks ago, we'll be updating like sidebar conversations with a couple of folks. Is we're going to revisit the whole travel insurance topic. We'll do a new primer and refresher. A lot has changed since our last video. But definitely, if you're planning on any travel, please get travel insurance and travel health insurance because there are differences. Travel health insurance, as you'll listen to that episode, that's a bonus episode of the podcast, as well as it's on our YouTube. And it really is about being able, if you need to, repatriate. We're still in the middle of a pandemic. Actually, there was a lawmaker, I believe a Republican lawmaker, I can't recall the state, who was traveling a couple weeks ago to, I want to say, I can't remember, so I don't want to say. It was a Latin American country, and he tested positive when he landed. His symptoms deteriorated, had to be hospitalized, but could not be repatriated. And he's a lawmaker. And he wanted to be repatriated because some of the treatments to treat COVID were not available in the country that he was in. Eventually, it said in the article that they were able to get him back stateside, but sadly, he passed away. And so those are some of the challenges that can occur. In addition to, I know in some of the talks from Exodus Summit, there were conversations where people had, fallen while on holiday and needed to be repatriated. That's what travel health insurance can do for you versus travel insurance is I missed my flight, I missed my connection, that type of thing. So we'll do a primer. I love this one, Black women. So of course, that's gonna be on my board because I'm a Black woman. So cool. You're going to NASA? I've never been. You have to tell me about that. Wow. First time on a cruise. Awesome. I hope you're going on a long, relaxing cruise. Yeah. The first and only cruise I went on was the Crown Princess. Very big ship. But you'll like it. You'll like it. Cruises, they have a lot. There's no shortage of things to do. Let's put it that way. No shortage of things to do. That's awesome. I'm happy for you. But yes, definitely make sure you have your insurance because as we have seen in the news, inundated with cancellations every day. It's like it's still even after Christmas, still cancellations. And like I said, that's part of the fact that Obi-Wan Kenobi is going on right now, and it's causing people to miss work or other things. And so I believe this particular one is most disruptive. At least it seems that way. Because I know for a lot of people, myself included, thought we were on the other side of this. But, all right. I think I got one more magazine. Oops. Saw something else that I like. All right. I'm going to do like one more thing, and then I'm going to start pasting. Hope your boards are starting to look. Ooh, Karen's doing 7 days. And she got her insurance. Woo, woo. Good. Yes. And timing of when you purchase the insurance is very important. I'm glad you raised that because especially in these pandemic times, obviously cancellation after cancellation, most people probably don't carry insurance. But for those that do, read your policies, understand what what they will require in terms of information. If you have to make a claim, that I had to do that when I had my challenges in Costa Rica, literally the first day, because I got to the airport. Everybody was on the plane in Newark, and we did not have a pilot. That started my trip. And so once that domino fell, all the other dominoes followed. But, there were certain things that, when I called literally on the first day, they were like, oh, you need to get a letter from this one and that and blah, blah, blah. So it's definitely in your best interest not only to have it, but also pay attention to the provisions because insurances aren't always in insurance companies aren't always in the right mood to pay claims, and so you don't want your claim denied because you didn't read the fine print. When I booked my trip to Bali for 2020, and I still have not gone to Bali. They're not open, or at least um, and so it's funny because Deirdre Mola, who's our episode 2, we talk, and she said, I said to her, when we do finally get in the same room face to face, because I was actually supposed to go earlier this year, but like I said, countries ain't letting folks in. I was like, it's going to be like years at this rate with this pandemic. It's gonna be years before I'm in the same room with her. But it happens. We'll make it happen. Actually, for those of you who follow Blacks at Global on Instagram, did you see today's post? Yes, there was a Blacks at Global get together of members in Italy. Did you see that? I was so excited. I had no idea. It warmed my heart, especially today because it was an emotional day. It is an emotional day for me. Sunsetting in the Facebook group. It's not an easy decision. It's actually very emotional for me. And I woke up, I didn't really sleep that well. And I woke up and one of our guests, Julianne, she is in Italy. She is in Tofa. And I actually interviewed her like 2 weeks after she moved from New Jersey to Italy. And she met up with our moderator, Victoria. She was going to be here tonight, but as you know, the time zone difference is a beast. And so they met up in Orvieto, and I had interviewed Victoria. Finally got that episode recorded, and that aired this season. So there's, I think, I'm geographically challenged, says the woman that travels the world. But there's, I believe it's like 2 hours between between the two of them. So yeah, they made it happen. I was like, oh my God, I had no idea. Neither one of them told me. And then sure enough, I wake up and she tagged me on IG, and it was like the first thing I saw. I was like, oh my gosh, how cool is that? And gave a shout out to Blacks of Global. So I thought that was so cool. So I had to repost it, and that's on our Instagram. But yeah, it was just very special to have, folks, making these connections. I really appreciate that. And then there's a couple people I know have been tagging me as of late on their YouTube channels. So I just want to acknowledge that as well and thank you, because that really means a lot. There's a lot of nice inspirational words that were shared about the podcast and how the platform is really inspired people to make these powerful and big moves. So that just really meant a lot to me. So yeah, if y'all get a chance, take a look over there. Yeah, so in terms of, and I'll be wrapping this up probably in a few minutes, is our communities. Where are we going to be? Like, what happens after tonight? So the Facebook group is going to be archived. I'll go through that. The Facebook group is going to be archived, so it's still searchable. You will still have access to the group as long as you do not delete yourself as a member, which means you will not be able to add people to the group. You won't be able to post anything, but if you needed, you remembered there was an article or something, you can dive in and search it. So that's that. Our YouTube channel, where you are viewing now, will exist. Our Instagram is still there. Our website, blacksaglobal.com. Blacksit Global Passport is there. Where am I forgetting? And our podcast, right? Who can forget? The Blacksit Global podcast. So we are currently in hiatus for season 3 while I rejuvenate and start to lay down some track with some interesting guests and inspiring and empowering stories. And then, yeah, planning some big things for Blacksit Global Passport. And, some things will be shared with those members, but very soon. So it's all good stuff. All good stuff. Boo, 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 boo. Trying to be careful on this. So this one I love. So I have like a room to dream. So that'll be like the last one. So I'm going to start pasting. Where did I put my, here we go. You should see my floor. Just that quick. Like it looks like, I don't know, like a whole printing press went and fell out. But so now I have, let me get something to lean on that's going to be like a little more sturdy. So I have, as I mentioned, my poster board. I have like all my little things cut out. Get something sturdy, or at least because I'm sitting in a chair and looking at my camera. And then you just start, get your glue sticks, or some people like to do tape. And then you just start, like I said, sometimes, and for me, I like to kind of pre-lay out some of what I want so I can move it around before I stick it down. So I'll take those words or images and I'll play around with placement because of either how I'm a visual learner. So how my eyes track or how I digest information best. Sometimes I'll just reposition things and I like this word here, or I like this picture here. Or if I want to add something, I'll leave space for it later. And so I will play around with kind of the order. And so for me, that's really part of how I vision board. I know there's silence. And then also there are times where you'll place something and then you're like, oh, when I see it, I like the word, but I'm like, I don't think it fits on the board. Or I like the image and then I don't think it fits on the board. right? Not like fits on the board in terms of, its actual space, but just the energy that it brings. Um, it may not like fit the placement. So, um, feel free to like tweak. So a couple things that I had cut out that now as I look at the energy of the board, it just doesn't feel right to stay. And so that's why I like move them around and then before I start gluing down. Because then it makes it a little harder once you put the glue down to like change it a bit. So I also like to do that too. Hope you all are finding this helpful. Yay. Um, and then, like I said, there's a couple more that I will, I'm leaving space because I want to actually take some of the phrases and pictures that were on the board from last year and put them on this one. All right, so I'm going to start gluing. I'm not sure where you are in your process, but hopefully you are either still cutting or flipping through magazines. Hopefully you have like a nice beverage, some music in the background. I didn't do music because I think it becomes like a copyright thing since this is on Facebook and YouTube. So I did not do that. But hope you all are. Maybe you're drinking some water or Prosecco, which I have for tomorrow, or kombucha, something fun. Anybody? I know with this whole pandemonium, some of the plans for New Year's have gotten scrapped, especially in different countries. Y'all don't know. I continue to talk to my guests even after they've recorded with me. And you know what? They appreciate it. I'm always checking in. So just getting like the roll call from folks to see how things are going in their respective countries. Some of the countries are in, severe lockdown. Some of them have loosened. But just want to know if you guys have some practices or plans for New Year's. Actually, one of our guests that I mentioned earlier, Deirdre Mola, she's doing something really, really cool. And I had the I shouldn't say I had the opportunity. It was mentioned at the time, this was like probably 8 years ago. So my kids were small and I couldn't leave to do it. But she's doing a 4-day silent retreat. So that's how she's ushering in the new year. So Deirdre, as some of you may know from listening to the podcast, lives in Bali. And so, yeah, that is what she is doing. So that's cool, right? I don't know. I'm an introvert. And so I like being alone. And so I feel like I could do the solitude part, but like, do you have to be like silent? Like, there's so many questions. Like, can you not talk to yourself? Because if so, like, that'd be problematic for me because I talk to myself all the time. So I don't know. Like, I got so many questions, so I will have to follow up and ask her about that. But I thought that was a cool thing to do. As we accomplish what's on the board, do you take down items and replace them with new ones? That's a great question. I'm on the board that is active. And by that, I mean, like, when I've done my board, I have left my board and I'll leave space. Not to say that there isn't anything else that inspires me or changes. Sometimes, like there was this time, I will tell you this, where there was this time, this one board I did it didn't jive with me and I took the board down. But what I do is if there's a carryover from a previous year, either something that's either gone well or something that hadn't fully manifested, I put it on. But like I said, it's your vision, so there's no right or wrong. If you like to have a board, I've seen actually from some people that they have a board and they'll put it in a shape. I did that in one year. I had like a tree because I had like a family vision board, um, and then left room for some space. So I think there's like a lot of things that you can play around with and kind of see what jives. Um, People have relationship vision boards, if they want to get married or um, open their heart space in a different way, or mend family relationships, or just relationships in general. I talked about work. Oh, actually, I did have another one because I know we're coming up on like getting near time. Um, is I also wanted to talk about, because like I said, this is all about not only us coming together, but setting the intention for a new year. I did want to share a post that a friend posted yesterday. That was another thing I was trying to grab before we went live. That probably is why we have the time delay. I was trying to do too much. That's also something that is on my plan to commit to not doing too much in 2022, because I need to be able to safeguard my boundaries and that's something that I realize that is a struggle point, is kind of taking on too much. And so now I'm getting my mind to a point where I'm doing a lot less and being okay with it. You probably listened to the last episode, not the bonus episode. And I normally send my episode to the editor, and I wouldn't say I'm a perfectionist, but this time I did it all in one take because it was just progress over perfection. So just giving yourself space and permission to do things or not do them is really important. There was a post from, I don't know, for some of you that follow like the Come Up series, or also Earn Your Leisure, another great podcast. Ian Dunlop, he had posted on his IG about, kind of changing his work habits and spending more time resting, and just changing even their whole, like, or not the Earn Your Leisure, but it seems like his business model to support that, because I talked about it actually in that episode. It's like a lot of us Black content creators, especially this year, we were exhausted. A lot of us had created, different platforms, different spaces, or doubled down on, content around getting out of the place in which is called America. And that was like focused for 2020, and then 2021, was just a lot of exhaustion, because there was just a lot of performative things that companies and people said and things like that. And, we're seeing it on the back end, and it's not pretty. And so a lot of us have just gotten tired. So maybe a lot of the people that you follow, I know a lot of people I follow have taken quite a bit of a hiatus or changing, because, we're tired. Because it's like, if our people don't support us, like, people that do reels and all this other stuff, and they're doing it on IG and everything, And then they have to rely on the same companies that, also want to take from us and not give us opportunities, because why? They throw a check, right? Because they want to keep us on their platforms. Black people over index on social media. um, and so, if the same followers were to actually, support, content creators financially, not just, with likes, there would be a whole different shift in energy. So, I think a lot of folks will be changing in the next year or so. Is my take. So so Karen's is for next year is being okay to say no politely. I likes that. I likes that. I likes that. Going just back into the comments because I know I probably skipped over. Yes, travel insurance does give you peace of mind. Oh, Savvy Soldier has used World Nomads. Is that what you use? Is that a travel insurance policy or provider? Definitely drop a comment and let me know, because that would be really helpful to some people. I definitely have a couple resources that I got, that I kind of want to create for y'all. Because, like I said, even though the group is going away, I also got the website, all those other things, all the things, all the things. Um, this is going to come off easy. All right. All right, I'm going to steal like one more thing off of this, and also wanted to read this statement because it kind of goes into what Karen actually was saying about being able to say no politely, and kind of talks about like boundaries. And I think it's a nice way to end our time together tonight. Don't worry, y'all. I'll be coming back sometime in January. Probably that's when we'll do our travel insurance one. We just have to work out dates. Schedules. All right. So this was a post, because I lost my train of thought before. This was a post from my friend, dear Deetris. So hopefully you can. All right, I'm not gonna share it because this is hers, but so this is honestly a great way to kind of end our time together this evening. So it says, "My divorce is final. I have officially divorced my past failures, my doubt, my setbacks, negative people, low self esteem, lack, procrastination, my fears. It is over and done. The judge gave me full custody of my calling, my hope, my joy, my entire life, my millions, my happiness, my relationships. I speak life over myself, my situations. In 2022, I will dominate my realm of influence, of love and happiness and health. Now, happily engaged to my bright future, soon to be married to my destiny." Come on, y'all. Divorce yourselves from anything that wasn't sent by God so your future can be released. The only thing holding you back is you. So, with that, I will bid you adieu. Karen is asking, where can we share our board when we finish? You can share it in the group. I'm going to keep, you're in Passport, you have access to both communities. Like I said, I will archive the group. I am not staying up to midnight to archive the group, so it will close when I wake up in the morning because I know, like, time zone wise, I want to make sure it's all good and right. And then it'll be archived. Point being that it will close. Um, so yeah, you can share it there. Oh yeah, let me make this. Let me close this out. Hopefully that post that I shared and read was moving to you all. And I will share where I am. I still have a couple more things that I want to do, but so far it's like coming together, financial freedom, healthy living, treat yourself. Like I said, there's a lot of things that I want to do. Everyday miracles. You know, we have to be able to appreciate things. A place in the sun. How I would love to be in a place that's sunny right now, looking good, a real man, a real man, a quiet place in the vision. So that's how mine is coming together right now. Like I said, it's still a work in progress. I'm going to borrow a couple things from my other board and then also pour over some other things. But with that, like I said, thank you for rolling with me tonight. Thank you for those of you who are in the Blacks of Global Facebook group for rolling with Blacks of Global all this time, these past 18 plus months. Hope you will join us in Blacks of Global Passport. Continue to listen to the Blacks of Global podcast. Also, please, if you haven't already, or if you have, please continue to do so. I'm a finalist to win a trip to Puerto Rico and a VIP mastermind with Terry Igioma, the founder of Trade and Travel. As you all know, I am an affiliate. And so I am a finalist to win that. And I need your vote. So vote every day between now and January 3rd. And yeah, I mean, gosh, if I am a winner, believe y'all will know, even with the group close, y'all know. Y'all know. Trust me. I'll be like, I don't know, taking out commercials or something. I don't know. Oh, awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I hope it was a lot of fun. I want to do more of these because I have some other things planned. Again, I wish you all the best. I know this isn't goodbye, right? But we are saying goodbye to this year. So wishing you a safe, healthy, happy end to this year. Also, a safe, healthy, happy, and prosperous new year. Stay safe, hold the ones that you love dear close, and be kind to one another. And I will see you on the flip side. Bye, y'all. Happy New Year.